Okay, guys, what's going on? Sorry for the little bit of a delay there. Just getting the technical things all set up. So I'm on Twitch and YouTube, trying to keep both like the chat lines open. I checked out that Reddit sub one of you guys suggested before, but I can't figure out how to post the stream to it. But if anyone knows how to do that, feel free to post the link to the stream. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna be sketching out a designer toy today, and I'm actually really excited to kind of show you guys the settings of this. Hang on, I'm sorry, guys. Getting a few messages in right now. All right, just double checking quality. All right, so we got 2 people on Twitch, 2 people on YouTube. What's up, guys? Feel free to talk in the chat of both. I'm going to try to check back and forth between the two. YouTube is the main platform that I use, so please just bear with me as I set things up. It's just easier for me to watch everything from one platform base. For whatever reason, Streamlabs doesn't put like the chat in from both of these, so it's a little frustrating, but it's okay. I'm just trying to get it all set up here. Sorry, just takes a few seconds. So I got a couple design ideas, and we're just gonna kind of go over the basics of how to make a designer toy, from the research process to sketching out and designing all the articulation, the size of the figure, all that stuff. So we're gonna go through that process. We're gonna see what we can get done. I had the stream scheduled for 5, but I just felt like starting a little early. So we're going to do that. And we're just going to go through and sketch everything. So if you guys can't hear anything, just let me know, because that's always an issue for whatever reason I seem to run into. Okay. And we got YouTube chat open. Hey, what's up, dude? So yeah, we should have very low latency as well. That's always been like an issue, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem right now. And let's see, where's the other one at? Hey, what's up, Jared? Yeah, I gotta get like another monitor or something for this, because it's just such a, like, going back and forth between tabs and stuff is such a process. Okay, cool. So you got all the links up. So we're gonna go over the process of designing a toy. Like I said before, the stream was scheduled for 5, so we're just gonna keep going over the basics really quick and talk about some reference material and what we're gonna base the figure on. Nothing at work again. What's up, man? Thanks for tuning into the stream. So we're basing a design off of a classic design. This is a Cupid doll, really popular figure that has been around forever. They kind of have different versions of this from all over the world. This is a Cupid from Japan, from one of the original Japanese company to make soft vinyl Cupid dolls. The company, I always forget what it is. Ubitsu, I believe is what it's called. Their little like elephant logo on the bottom of the foot. There's no way the camera's gonna pick it up, but it's a soft vinyl. It's kind of squishy. It's got a little articulation on the arms, the head. It's a popular tattoo flash design. So I really like these a lot. I actually have quite the collection of weird little tiny toys. Here's another one that's, I believe, based off of a German design, but it's actually produced by an American company. These were made in the 50s. I have the arms somewhere, but they usually had like a rubber band between them, and you'd move one arm and it would spin the other arm, and it'd do all these weird kind of things where you could put different things on them, and people would knit like little outfits for them as like a crafts thing. So this is a hard plastic, and you can tell it's an American made one, because when they would make things like this, all it would be was good enough, and that's it. They really wouldn't go above and beyond. As long as it looked generally like the thing it was supposed to look like, they didn't really care too much about the detail on it. When it came to plastics, the US just never gave a shit. So there was just not a big industry for it here. With the Japanese ones, there's a lot of attention to detail. On the real soft vinyl versions, there's almost no like clicking. It's really smooth. This is a modern version of a classic from the original company. So this probably was produced within like the last 10 years or so. But it is soft vinyl, so you can squish it and it just comes back to life. And then I have another version here. So this is the extra large version of it. So this is a massive head here. This is huge. The body, I think this one is the one of the taller figures. I think it's about a foot tall, maybe a little less. Yeah, so almost. Yeah, it's a pretty tall figure. Yeah, it's just under 12 inches. So I want to make a figure that's based on this stuff, but I don't want to do just like a regular plain old Cupid. So I started sketching some stuff up, and when I was at my Ace's studio with Rom the other day, if you guys were on my Instagram, you saw some clips of us there. I started sculpting a little devil head, kind of like the Hot Stuff character, and I haven't seen a toy like it at all, at least not in, you know, a designer toy aspect. I've seen some that are kind of cool. They used to make little like matchstick holders for matches, and those are pretty awesome. But I wanted to do something like a little bit better than that. Personally, I thought it'd be cool to do maybe like a tiny little Cupid version, little devil head, but I don't want it to be exactly the same between the two. So I started sketching up different variations. So here's some little devil heads here that look kind of awesome. A couple different faces. They might be a little hard to see. So I think we're going to sketch some of these up, figure out the articulation points. I do like on the smaller version of the Cupid how the legs don't move. It's one solid piece, and that's one thing that can definitely help us save a lot of time and money when we go to design the toy. The less moving parts you have, the easier it's going to be for you to make something. It's just how it is. It's just the name of it. The head moves, the arms move, that's it. Versus the larger version where all of the limbs move. They got the arms, the legs, and the head. Those all move. So that's a little too much for me, and I don't really feel like, you know, making something like that. So this simplistic design is the one I want to go with. I could even make it simpler if I just did the the 3-part instead of 4-part molding, where it's just the main body and head attached, and then the 2 arms move. But I feel like that's still kind of, you know, not super fun. So those are some references of some real toys, keeping it simple. Here are the sketches that I have. I know the general scale I want to be is about 4.5 to 5 inches tall. So that's the one character design there for one toy. And then we also have these classic marching middle finger designs, which are, again, popular tattoo design. Kind of a, you know, weird biker tat inspired thing. The, you know, all the fuck the world stuff. But I've only seen a few versions. I've seen them in tattoos. I haven't seen them as a lot of other things, so I kind of wanted to try something a little different. And I thought about doing like a little devil demon hand thing. Started drawing the legs. Just thought it was funny. Added the weird long devil fingernails. And, you know, it seemed pretty funny. It's got the butt cheeks, weird little legs. Switched them out to little claw legs and feet. Thought about maybe adding a hoof version where it's got the little hooved legs. I kind of like this idea, but I don't think it'll stand super well, and it just doesn't look as funny anymore to me. So this is one version. Then we have the rock-on version, which is just, you know, little devil horns rock-on thing. And I thought about making this one as well because I've never seen it, and I thought that would be really funny. So these are some other options. Again, I think about the size of a Cupid would be the perfect size for this toy. So that's another one I'm going to be working on and sketching. And then I also want to try to sketch just a generic sort of blank figure with very minimal features that I can turn into a resin cast piece that you guys can actually purchase and make your own customs of and stuff like that. So we will see how that goes. Also, if you guys are watching, just make sure to like the video here. It helps boost the engagement and It's really super helpful to the channel if you guys can do that stuff. Same thing on Twitch if there's the equivalent. Like I said, I don't really know Twitch super well. But yeah, just any of the likes, commenting in the chat, be a part of the conversation. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. And we're going to get started. I think we're going to get started with the little devil body first. So one of the other design features of the Cupid on the smaller scale is the arm. And the cool thing about the arms with these, pop this one out easily without some heat, they're symmetrical. So that's one of my favorite things about this design, is that if you get kind of close, you can see the arm here is exactly the same on this side as it is on this side. So I could technically get away with one mold if I wanted to. Now I want my hands to be kind of similar to this when I design them. So we kind of have the general idea of what they look like. There's the two little lumps here. They kind of let you know it's an arm. We have the fingers here. It's 5 digits. It's perfectly symmetrical. So this makes this a lot easier and again reduces the amount of sculpting I need to do. I can perfect one piece, cast one, and then I can have enough to make two different pieces, a double mold if I needed to. And I just want it to be really simple, and I think this is sort of the design. I kind of like it. I want to add maybe some fingernail details. I haven't decided yet if I'll do that. It might be a little complicated to do it. So that's one feature of the arm. The body itself, I want it to be like a nice kind of soft vinyl. Nothing super crazy. Like I would be making it out of resin, but I want it to have that classic look. So there's 2 to 3 different versions of how the Cupid is done. They either have just like the full round belly, which I kind of like the design of, or they have one where it's got like the little like breast area that goes into the belly down into like the groin, and that kind of gives it the general form. Now on the smaller scale ones, the reason I like these ones so much is how simplistic they are compared to the larger ones. And there are some small versions that have some of the large one, like some of the large scale features. The main difference is the button nose versus the pig nose. I like the little pig nose on this guy. The eyes are different. The forehead on this one is a little bit more protruding, and the back of the head here, it scoops back more. So you can see it really scoops in really drastically compared to some of the other designs, whereas the smaller scale version, even though the head's not on there, it scoops in but not as drastically. So the head by itself can literally sit and stand fine, but this one, it tips over a lot because of how it's designed, and I didn't really like that. I figured it might throw the design off balance. So there's a lot of things you want to think about when designing the toy. You want to make sure that it's a balanced toy. It's going to stay in place and it's not going to move and fall over. So that's one thing I wanted to keep in mind. The other thing is if you look at the back side of the figure, it's fairly flat. So the actual shape, I'm going to move to a different page here so we can kind of see. The actual shape is kind of like this. So you don't really, trying to clear this side so it's easier so you can see what I'm talking about. But this is generally the actual shape of this whole character. You got the little butt here, goes up, curves on the back. There's a little shoulder blade. On the Cupids, they have little tiny wings on some of the old versions. So a little bit of detail on here on the back. On the American versions, they usually don't have that. They have like a stamp of the company that made it. And then they'll also have like the dimples on the back. But it's like this little bean form for this scale, which I really like. And then it goes flat here. This is where the head connects. On the legs, they're attached to the body. So they go up about a quarter of the way here. And they're really simple. You want all of your stuff to be as simple as possible when you're designing tiny resin casts or even vinyl toys. The simpler the form is, the easier it is for them to produce it. And you can really let your creativity shine through like the painting and stuff. So definitely something to consider. So we're just drawing the leg and the body, and the leg is about the same height as the overall body. So you want to try to keep your proportions as accurate as possible as well. We're going to be sculpting this from real material. So I'm going to try to get this going I might pause for a second. Hang on, I'm getting a bunch of messages from the guys at the shop. 1 second, let me just check these. They're actually asking me some stuff about sculpting. We're gonna do a real simple design here. Normally I print out a form with the exact height of the figure, but I don't have that stuff made up right now. Okay. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay. All right, so just gonna draw some lines here. Now, when you're doing a character turnaround, so this is what we're gonna set up first. This is one of the best things that you can do to make sure things are working correctly. Sorry, might have lost some feed again. Oh man, I gotta get a better setup in here, huh? Sorry guys, 1 second, the camera just shut off. This happens every once in a while with this camera. It's I'm shooting with an older GoPro, and for some reason it just turns off while I'm filming. It's not actually recording footage, so it just takes a minute to connect, and once it's connected we can go and I can get everything back. All right. Okay guys, sorry about that. My professional streams as always. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's a Keychron keyboard. I love this thing. This is like my favorite keyboard of all time. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to that stuff, so I just wanted a keyboard that was comfortable. I don't really care too much about like the light up aspect of it. It's just helpful because I usually work kind of in the dark when I'm designing. I just like keeping the lights down. In the wintertime when it's cold, like I try to keep it bright in here. In warmer months, which we're about to be approaching into, thankfully, I usually keep it really, really not too ridiculously bright because I want it to stay cool. So I kind of need the light up keyboard. Yeah, dude, it is a super nice compact keyboard. This thing's awesome. Yeah, dude, mechanical keyboards. If anyone has not experienced a mechanical keyboard, you just gotta try one out. I just miss the feeling of having one. I went from using like the Mac keyboard, which, yeah, it's cool, it's slim, it's compact, but that thing just is so bad for your hands, dude. The amount of like carpal tunnel feelings that you start to develop from just using a crappy keyboard without like a keyboard rest or whatever. Just the angle is too low. And if you're a graphic designer or an illustrator or someone at a computer, like, you're at your computer all day, you need something that's going to let you work comfortably. And this thing does it for me for sure. Just like little simple keyboard rests work just fine. Yeah. That's the one thing I can recommend. If you're going to be working at a computer all day, get things to make it more comfortable. The next thing I need is a chair. When I do these videos, I have a chair that I found on the street, and it's super old and falling apart. There's like a coat hanger holding it together. It's not ergonomic at all. It's super painful to sit at, actually, but that's the next thing on the list. Got my nice Ergo mouse, the MX Master 3. Any other tech nerds out there? Best mouse, in my opinion, for graphic design stuff, unless you go with like a super Ergo mouse. I just like the control of this thing. It's pretty awesome. But all right, back to the toy design. Sorry, I get excited about this stuff. Okay, so we're just drawing out this little figure here. So we have the actual height now figured out. And I want to bring this little joint actually a little further down, closer to the middle here, a little past the middle section. Yeah, dude, that chair is on the list. That's next for sure. The big thing I'm focused on right now is just trying to like get a studio space again. Also, just for my own mental sanity, trying to work in my apartment is super small. That last painting I did in the last studio vlog just took so much out of me, and I just finished another painting. So I set a personal goal to try to do 50 paintings this year, and on like the one I just finished, I think it's like number 5 or number 6 of the year. So I'm pretty far behind, but I included it to all types of painting, from tattoo flash to acrylics, spray paint, all that stuff. Murals I'm going to count as paintings. But that's the goal. I want to do a lot of painting this year. Okay, so we got the basic legs figured out. Now, I could use this main body more as a reference point to kind of figure this stuff out and see that the head actually is a little bit lower. I want to keep it pretty close to this design, but not exactly this design. All right, so looking pretty good. I'm really happy with this general form. Now the legs look huge compared to the body, so that they got to be tapered in quite a bit. You can see that they taper out quite a bit, or I got to fatten up the body. So I'm going to make the legs a bit smaller, just keeping this sketch really rough, and then we'll go back in and fine tune it. But this is just to get the general forms figured out. The arms, they just go past the hip when they're at the side. So they're right about here. And just the angle, drawing the perspective is a little tricky, but we should just try to get a general rough sketch of this. This doesn't have to be perfect for the character turnarounds. This is just enough as a visual reference to understand what the forms should be looking like and how they should be reacting. It doesn't need to be perfectly trued up or anything like that at all. Just keeping it nice and symmetrical. So we got the general arm there kind of figured out, looking pretty good. Now the head itself is where we're going to have a bit of a tricky time. I do like the general shape of a classic Kewpie's head. I didn't give myself enough room here at all. I always do that in my sketchbook. That's why I usually draw on loose paper. But the head is kind of ridiculous with these. So we have a massive, absolutely massive head. It goes, far past the body, even in some areas. You have the two cheeks. We have the little bit of hair in the back, the little bit of hair on the top. The forehead cuts in crazy. I do like this nose design. It's like a little bit of like a pig nose. I think that's kind of cool for the design. The eyes recess in quite a bit. And then we have the eyebrow up here. Eyeballs. And then we have where the ear and the hair would be on this design. But I'm going to switch that to the little devil ear. We got the horn in the front. Now, the horns on mine, I want to be able to take them out so I can cast them in different colors. So that's going to be another little extra part that makes it a little tricky. There's a few ways I can do this in the design. Usually when I'm doing stuff like this, I'll do like a little simple peg design where you can twist and rotate the horns. But if I'm not happy with how that looks and I want it to be exact, I'll make what is known as a peg. So you can make pegs a couple different ways. I usually use these little tiny pieces of brass. They come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes. There's rectangular ones, triangular ones, star ones, whatever you want. You can get them in a scale and size to fit your part. And then again, this will be a piece that's symmetrical. So it's going to look exactly the same left to right. And I would technically only need to cast one with this same exact peg, make it easier, and just cast a bunch of them after the initial casting goes through. I can make another mold and cast 100 at a time. But the way the peg works, and this is one of the design features as well for the arm. The arm, I'm probably going to use magnets. I'm actually working on a Kewpie design with my ace as well for a blank figure thing. But this is the general peg concept. You have the receptacle, which is the main peg. The peg opening. So say this is your arm part. You have the peg here. It's on a little tiny arm. If you can see it. I'm left-handed, sorry guys. I always forget that. My hand covers half the things I'm drawing until I move it out of the way. So please just bear with me while I try to draw this a little darker. So say this is the part of the arm right here. And then it would go into this recessed area. Just like that. So the inside would be like that. So this peg goes right in there, locks in place. It won't move. Pretty simple concept. If you've ever put a model kit together or anything like that, you know that these little marks and pegs are designed to do that sort of thing. And people use them for all sorts of stuff. just erase those. So that's the general design. I also want a tail to be on here, and then there's two other features that they're small, but I think they're kind of important, and they definitely add a lot of detail, even though it's a small thing. So on the Kewpie design, there's little toe lines to show where the toes are, and then there's like a little mark where the belly button is, and that's cool. I like, whatever, that's like a fun thing. I want the cheeks on this to kind of go up more so it looks a little bit more like cutesy, and then we're going to make the recessed eye area like a triangle. And then for the belly button, I was thinking about doing a little heart shape for the belly button. So usually I'll grab sticky notes when I'm designing, and I'll draw an arrow, place a small sticky note, and draw what I want that to look like. So we got the little heart here. Not too bad. And we'll just figure out how we want it to go. So we'll either do it on the top or the bottom. Probably make it a little bit cuter than this. I don't really like how that one looks, so change it up a little bit. And we'll just do the little top like that. So that's one option. If I don't like how that looks, I'll switch it to like a swirl or whatever. I mean, this is where you can really start to pick and choose the elements you want when it's sort of a cartoonish looking figure. But I think that's going to work with one of these. Same thing with the tail. Now there's two things for the tail we could do. We could either make a separate tail part, which I don't really want to do. I think that would take a long time, and I just don't really like that. We can either attach it to the body. So you can see like on the back of this little Kewpie, see how the wings are? So the wings are sculpted into the back. They're not a separate part. They're just sculpted on there. They're flat. Same thing with like the ears and the hair. They're sculpted onto the flat surface as a detail. I like how that looks. So we can have the tail actually go up where the back is. So it could just be like something like this, but pressed on the back. Or I could cast it as a separate part. Again, use a little peg, but we'd use one that's round so it can be rotated and move. I kind of like that idea a bit more, so we might move forward with that. And again, we'll do the little heart shape on the tail just to kind of add some similar elements on the overall design. The eyes look good. I really like this. Now, as far as the face goes, we could do a few things with it. I like the one little tooth in some of these earlier sketches that I did. So this is kind of the general sketch I like the most. I like the eyes. They got the big triangles on there. Got the little pig nose. The tooth isn't that sharp in this one, but we'd sharpen it up. And that's kind of like the general vibe for this one. So the tooth's on there. We got the horns going. Really kind of super cute, fun design. Then we have one that's less cute. It's intentionally, a bit uglier looking. It's ugly cute, which is this design here. It might be hard to see the red pencil, so I'm going to try to sketch over it really quickly with some blue. So I'm planning to use some monster clay for this sculpting, and probably some epoxy sculpt as well. So I might even start with some foam, and then I'll sand that. Oh, what's up, Mais? What's up, man? I was just at Mais's studio a couple days ago. Me and Ron were there. We were sculpting. But yeah, no, I'm planning to use monster clay and epoxy sculpt for this, and that's gonna just make it a lot easier when I'm trying to actually get some of the details down. I like using the epoxy sculpt because it's a little bit firmer, and once it sets, you can sand it and everything, and then sculpt on top of that, almost like it's a form. So that's something I might try to do with this for the general body parts. Sorry. And then use monster clay, and the monster clay is going to basically allow me to really get in there and get some details on top of that, which can be casted and molded. So that's always awesome. But yeah, as far as the faces go, I think this is kind of like one of the more winning designs. The smile is cute. The frown is kind of funny. I really like how that looks. It's just deciding which shape looks the best. But so far, the side profile is really nice. No, you don't use chemicals to soften monster clay. You actually use heat. So if you carefully heat it up in the microwave, just be careful when you do. It can become molten hot in the center because it heats from the center out when you microwave something. You want to be really careful. Just do it for, like 30 seconds at a time, little intervals. It helps soften up the clay. There's different grades. There's soft, medium, and hard, or soft, medium, and firm. I usually work with a medium. That's like my go-to. It's my favorite one to work with. But a little bit of heat will allow you to work with it. There's a ton of tutorials online on how to mess with monster clay. The only time you use chemicals is I believe you can use mineral spirits to smooth it out, but even then be careful. Those chemicals are super harmful and they're really flammable, so you got to be careful when working with any of that stuff. Monster clay, though, just generally heat is all you need. All right, so we got the general design. Now the legs here we're going to revisit because they're way too thick. Yeah, so when they're brushing liquid over it, it's usually alcohol or acetone, and it's breaking down the surface tension and the surface that they just scraped. So they use that, and when they're done, they use that to smooth out some details, but it helps break it down. But yeah, you want to start super rough with your sculptures, and then using rake tools to really plane things down and get rid of lumps and stuff. That's how most toys are designed anyway, is a wax-based or oil-based clay. Then they use the heat to kind of soften things up and really make the forms. But getting back into the design here, now I definitely drew this leg way too thick here, so it's got to get a lot smaller. And it's going to go in here quite a bit. And I don't like this general shape that I have here, so we're going to change that up a bit. I'm thinking we're going to go with kind of a spiky little foot. And I think that's just going to look a lot better. So I just grabbed an eraser again. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of this. Now you can draw a kneecap detail in there. Usually it's the two curves, they meet like this, and then they have a little flat section, and then like another little section of leg. But we're going to keep it pretty simple. Just make this go out a little bit further on the belly. Just a little bit more. Leg here. Doing pretty good. So the back, we'll want this to really like have a fun shape. So take your time with really getting the design figured out. And it's okay. Sometimes you'll draw the initial sketch and it's just not even close to what you want. So just take your time and have fun with it. It's not going to be perfect the first go around. I usually go through 3 or 4 different character revisions before I find a final that I'm happy with. So that's the side profile. We're going to switch to the front view now. You usually draw this on the same lines here. It should make your life a little bit easier. And just use a ruler to speed it up. Also, on my Patreon, I'm going to start posting some more behind the scenes stuff that I can't really, get into super deep on other platforms, just as kind of a bit more behind the process because people are curious. So I just want to offer that as an option for people. It is a lot more work to make that stuff, so that's more of like the premium, like paid subscription content. But there is always going to be stuff on all my other social media platforms for free, always. But the Patreon just helps me out as a creator, allowing me to sort of afford the materials I need to do these projects. So if you want to do anything on there, go check it out. There's some cool rewards. And then also you can also donate to these live streams. There's a link in the description and also in this chat at the very top. It's never required, but if you feel inclined to, feel free. But you can also support by just liking and sharing these videos. Okay. Sorry, drinking some coffee. We're going to move on to the next stages now. Now, this is where it gets a bit more interesting as far as the shape goes. So for the simpler design, I kind of like this design, again, like I said, without having the legs separate. I think it's just so much easier to have a piece that doesn't need to articulate. Just my personal preference. Now, we have the side here. It's going to be a little bit wider than this design. And normally I have a pair of calipers with me, and I'll do measurements, along the way. But we're just going to do a bit of a simpler process here. Just got the top of the head, the lower part of the stomach, back of the neck. And we want to just keep this form nice and simple if we can. That's the name of it. As simple as you possibly can get it to be as far as the form goes. And it's always okay to take toys that you have or toys that you've seen and reference them to figure out how their articulation works or how certain features, the reason that they do certain things, you might discover that as you're trying to design your own stuff. So this is a bit more of a complicated feature. You got the legs, the arms, the head all attached, and drawing this front view. You can start it with anyone that you want. I usually like drawing the side profile view because for whatever reason, it just, when I go to turn it in my mind, I see all the details better on this flat side view than I do in the front view. There's just less chances for there to be mistakes. So now when I'm looking at this head on as a reference point, I can see where the hands are and I see how they like kind of fit between these lines. And the leg also starts at that same point. So I'm just going through my sketch here, lining up details so they kind of fit. The fingertips just kind of graze into this point. But yeah, just take your time and have fun. I think that's one of the things about toy design. Everyone wants to get into it. Everyone has ideas. But it's just really like you should just really have fun with your first few toy designs. Don't make it look a big pressure. I did that for my first vinyl, and it definitely made the experience more difficult for myself by just overthinking the design and just really trying to do things that like necessarily weren't super important. I just wanted to do with my first figure. I am happy with how those came out, but I could have made my life a lot easier by simplifying the design and maybe only offering one one figure instead of two at the same time. But it was my first vinyl. I didn't really know much at the time about proper vinyl production, and it was just, my first vinyl toy. But with these are probably going to be cast out of resin, so, not too stressful of a design. All right, the body's kind of got this little A shape to it. And there's a little belly line here. We got the belly buttons like kind of way up there in the middle of the stomach, like right here. And we're going to try that heart shape. I think yeah, kind of like it. It might be just kind of lines inside, not actually a little crevice like this is. This is also just like a little line in. Now on the Hot Stuff cartoon and like the comic book illustration, the little devil has a little diaper on, kind of like the Baby New Year stuff. You've probably seen a Hot Stuff design before. I like the idea of the little diaper just because it kind of, just makes it a lot easier with just certain things about a character. You can hide the joints and stuff behind it. There's no weird seams you got to figure out. You can just throw it on there and it's good to go. Another thing about this too is if in your toy design, if you wanted another point of articulation, if you add the diaper to it, right, and you like how it looks, you can actually make a separation line here and cast the top portion right up here. It will be another mold, but you can actually cast it so the body will rotate on the legs. One option, not necessary, it's totally up to you. If you wanted something with more articulation, that's a really easy one to do. And again, you can use a rounded peg or just use magnets, and that's super obtainable. Anyone can kind of make that look and, really make something that looks awesome. I think the simpler the better, in my personal opinion, for this stuff. All right, now I brought the foot down again. You see how I'm using the ruler to find these key reference points and just making it very simple. I know that the foot starts here, so I can have the other portion of the leg where the calf is go down there and fit generally in proportion. And you can work with whatever you want as far as like sketching or whatever. Dude, Austin, you better make a space case toy. I will help you make that. Hit me up on Instagram or something and let's get talking. We're doing a space case toy. Though eventually, it's happening this year. I've already decided for you. All right, so I changed the original design of these legs Sorry, I got excited. I always get excited when Austin joins. Super fun time. Doing the little devil toes now. I kind of like the idea of doing, instead of having like the 5 little toes. What flavor? Any flavor, my guy. As far as the toes go, I want to do probably like the little 3 spiky toes. So I think that's kind of the concept. The other option is to do a weird hove, which I think Rom suggested that when I was with him at my ISA studio. We were like working on some of these little like devil cupid ideas. And I kind of like that idea, but at the same time, I'm worried about how it's going to balance. So I think I'm going to do just a little like spiky toes. I think the 3 are fine. Add the little toenails probably. Again, just to sculpt it on detail. And I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Now, if you're not someone that likes to draw the same thing twice, you could just grab a piece of tracing paper, trace one half, fold it in half, trace it on the other side. Very, very common technique to make something symmetrical and trying to save some time. But we're just going to do a quick little rough sketch and try to keep it keep it a little bit more accurate so you can kind of see where the arm reference points are. So that's right there. That's actually going to go down there. And just trying to stick as true to that as I possibly can. There's a ton of ways to do this. If you're on an iPad, this is even easier because you can use the symmetry tool. And Austin, as far as the toys stuff goes, would you want to do like what would you want to do, man? That's like up to you. Like what character would you do? You got a couple of them now. I feel like you could just do the like any of your cupcake guys and just change out the casting color and just do different parts that make them different characters. Modular is key with design. All right, so on the knees here, I'm also thinking I don't really like the look of the kneecaps here, so I might just do like the little swirl here. Let's see. Yeah, dude, I think you could do, if you did like a generic body form for them, like I'm doing with this, then you could just sculpt in different parts and components that all snap into place. So we were talking about earlier about using different peg details and using things like these little metal squares on the back of different features, and you can just, Mr. Potato Head the shit out of your stuff. And that's always the funnest thing. With my toys, the same thing. It's all modular, so I just switch out a few components and it's a different character, but the general body's the same. That's been going on in toy design since toy design became a thing. Every single company, they do that. If you look at all the old He-Man toys, they're all based on the same molds. They just change the colors and then they change the heads and a few accessory details. It's stuff like this that they really can't change, right? Like this is a Creature of the Black Lagoon toy, and it has sculpted details in the mold, and they can't really use this for another figure because it has those definite features, the head sculpted on there. Like this is a known franchise, so it's easier. It's a massive following just for this one thing. Whereas the Cupid heads, they have different head variations with them. So they have like the classic button nose one, or they have this one with like the little pig nose, but a lot of the parts are the same. And then they all have a lot of parts that are different. So like on the arms and the fingers, this one has a definite thumb. It's a left and a right, whereas this one's a universal part. So it's the same on both sides. So you just change out the frosting tops and maybe some of the facial features, and you're good to go. I think the space cake stuff would be super sick as a toy for sure, especially as like a resin or like a squish. If you make a squish like rubber version, that's something I'm like trying to figure out now how to do. That would be sweet. All right, now we're on to drawing the face of this guy and just figuring out kind of the general shape. We're going to keep this, pretty rudimentary because I didn't give myself enough room up here. I got really excited to start streaming. It's been super nice the last few days here. So it was like 72 degrees here in Boston. It's about to get back down to really terrible temperatures and might snow in a couple days, so I'm a little bummed, but today was really nice. And I've been stuck inside almost all day. So I went for a walk just before the stream and I got super amped. I just wanted to go and skate, but I scheduled this, so Had to make sure I was here. All right. So just drawing again where some key features are. This is where the cheeks are. And we're just going to do this really quick and simplistic. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this front facial feature just because I know it's going to change a bit. Going to change the placement of where the eyes and stuff are. If you're doing this digitally, you're going to save yourself a lot of time because you can just, quickly click and drag and warp and do all that stuff. But I did not think that everyone would have access to digital tools. So I wanted to make sure I could draw this out. And if you guys are interested in, doing the same thing, you can do the same thing. Just pen and paper. All right, so that's the general design there. Looks pretty good. I like the one tooth a lot. Dude, iPad Air gang, iPad anything gang. I have my iPad as well. I started doing this on my iPad yesterday, and I was like, oh, fuck, I should just draw it there so they can see. Anyone can do this. You don't need crazy technology, but an iPad will save you so much time in the long run because you can just do all sorts of crazy stuff with it really quick. Or if you draw in Photoshop or Illustrator. Oh, looks like the camera's cutting out again. 1 second, guys. All right. Sorry about that. I need like a going live assistant or something. This is so hard to do by yourself. So this is also like why the live stream stuff is really difficult for me. There's just a lot of stuff that happens during the stream that I can't just instantly fix. So just bear with me for another minute. Just waiting for this to connect. All right, there we go. We're back. Okay, sorry about that. Hang on, still trying to get it to zoom in. There it is. All right. You took the Christmas lights down? That's when you know, man, it's getting close to summer. That's like probably on the East Coast, that's everyone's favorite thing to do is to take Christmas lights down because they're like, it's close. Man, I'm so excited to just skate this summer. Wanted to try to skate every day. Okay. So we kind of have all the information I need for this basic character right now. Now we're going to get into some of the details. So you can do this however you want. I usually just try to keep it really simple, and I look at my reference forms, looking at the bottom of the feet here. I want these again to be symmetrical. I'm just going to draw the bottom of this foot because I know I want it to have the little hooves or like the little sharp pointy toes. So you want to make sure again this thing can stand up. And then you're good to go. Hang on, let me catch up on the chats here real quick. Oh yeah, dude, the process is definitely tedious. If you want it to be tedious, you could just be an asshole like I am, just literally rip them off the walls or the gutters and just throw them in a box. That's how we do it here in Boston. Or they just stay up forever. We're just like, no, they're year-round lights. They're not holiday lights. They're year-round. Okay, so we got the little foot here. Probably this is where you could add different features as well, depending on how you're going to pour your molds. So you can design the figure. Oh, you got to head out, man. No worries. Thanks for joining the stream. We'll be here for a while if you can make it back later. So this is another section where you can add like a logo on the bottom of the foot or whatever. I try to keep it pretty simple though, but I could add my Wolfbits logo. I could add like another, little smiley face on the foot. You can carve it into whatever you want to do in the overall mold design. But if you're planning to pour in your resin from one of these points and vent it out, depending on how you do this design, you want to figure out where the entry points are for where your pour spouts are going to be as far as the actual resin goes. So if we're going to keep this as a singular piece here, we have a lot of little sections that can get air bubbles in them, mainly like the toes, these little points here. Those all can get air bubbles in them in the design. So if you're going to just cast this part separately, so the part kind of looks like a weird A shape. So we'll just draw that kind of rough, just so you guys can kind of get the general idea. See, you're going to have these high points if you were to angle it. Now the head's going to be a separate part, and there's going to be a section where the head connects. I would probably have my pour in go here, and then my venting will go towards this side here. You want to have an in and out spot to help air escape. And we're going to be here for a while. Got the cold brew going. It's going to be a long stream, I hope. Hopefully a fun stream too. And whoever's holding it down on Twitch, the one person that always watches my videos on Twitch, you're the greatest. And everyone else on YouTube, you guys are also great. But it's always just like one person on Twitch that watches my stuff for the entirety of all of my streams. So that's awesome. Either that or it's me, just because I have the chat window open. So maybe it's just myself. I don't know. All right. So yeah, back to the mold concept. So you have the mold probably in two halves like this. Let me draw in a different color so you can see. All right, here's a red. So you'd have your like mold design, it tilted up, one half of the mold, the other half of the mold, like this. And then you just find a pour in spot. So you pour it in, and it goes up towards the top, and then just good to go. Damn, we just lost like half the audience. All right. So yeah, you just pour it in, and this is basically so the resin can go in and can fill up the mold itself, and all the bubbles and stuff have a place to escape. Makes it a little bit easier. So that's the first character design that we have here. I'm pretty happy with this layout. I like how it looks. It's pretty simple. Now the next one, we have two different designs that we can do. We have the plain marching middle finger guy, classic design, or this weird kind of like rock on guy. I'm going to do this one, I think, first. I think it's a little bit funner. It's a little just simple. It's not as aggressive. And I don't think it'll offend YouTube as much, because that's something I got to kind of worry about these days. Or whatever streaming platform I'm on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, now that we have one character figured out and it's looking pretty good, we're going to do the next character itself. We're going to figure out the general height of the character, and I still think the 5.5 to 4, or the 4.5 to 5.5 scale is just kind of my preferred. I think this is actually like a really good size as well. It's just a classic Cupid doll. So we're just going to do some quick measurements, get a rough estimate. So this is about 5.5. Looks like. Yeah, it's like about 5-inch actually on this one. So we're gonna do something similar. We're gonna just do like a 5-inch scale character. I think it'll just be easier for us to have reference points. So you just mark 5.5 wherever you need to mark it. I'm using a sketchbook. If you're using a piece of paper, doesn't matter. Just make 2 lines exactly the distance you want for the size of your character. Just do that, 2 lines. Okay. One up there. One right here. There we go. So this is the in-between area for both the characters. We're going to have the top and the bottom here. And then if you want to, you can, find the middle. So we'll just do that as well. You can, however you want to divide this up so it's easier for you to understand what the scale is going to be, you can do that. So we have the 2.5 mark. So this is a 5-inch scale character that we're doing for the toy design. This is the plan. You can make it any size you want, and you can also scale this up in the future. This is just for my own mental sanity, trying to imagine this thing in 3D. Okay, so for this one, this design, trying to figure out how to start this off. I know that the halfway point is going to be pretty good. I want the legs to sort of form in a certain way. And the way that I designed this one in the first couple sketches, I usually start this rough. I make a sketch that looks this ridiculous and simple. It's never super crazy. You know, it's just always kind of funny, kind of clunky in the beginning. And you can sculpt like this as well. It doesn't have to be a super tight sculpture. I think the designer toys that look super wonky and just kind of like they were made by someone not professional are the best ones. The things that look like a bootleg of something else, but they're not a bootleg, they're an original. That's the good shit, in my opinion, as far as designer toys go. All right, so you know, I kept it simple. It's a funny design. I didn't really care too much about the overall, you know, practical features yet. This was just the concept, so I was sketching it out, and now we're gonna make a practical version. For whatever reason in this drawing, I had it running. There's the palm there, so it just looks kind of weird because this design works with the middle finger one because the palm of your hand looks kind of like a butt, and it's believable. But for this design, it's reversed because I have it sort of running. So we're gonna try to figure out how to make that look less weird, and you know, not kind of gross. So we're gonna do the reverse. I still think the little butt cheek is really funny on this design, but we're just putting it in a different spot from the original design. And that's like the general concept. And then also the fingernails themselves, those actually are what make the teeth for the monster, and then the eyes look like they're just drawn up with Sharpie. I think that's the vibe I want for this. So I want it to look as funny as possible. Looks like Twitch just bailed out, so sorry about that, anyone on Twitch. It's reloading. All right, so Twitch is out. I don't know what's going on with it. It's given like a bunch of network issues, so that's a bummer. I'm gonna just close that window for now. I'm using Streamlabs to do all this, mainly because I just don't want to spend the time to do OBS design and all that. I'm on a Mac. This just seems like the most realistic option for me, so that's what I'm using. And I'm gonna grab some paper. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab some tracing paper just so I can get a quick little outline of both of these drawings onto the next page, so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Be right back. Okay, back on the live scene. All right, maybe Twitch is back up, it looks like. Not too bad. Checking things out. Let me just catch up on some stuff. I'm not sure if the stream is still going on Twitch. It just said 2 more people joined after I closed it out. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I grabbed the tracing paper, though, just so I can sketch on this really quick. This is also a great way if you want to test something out, put it on top of your main drawing and sketch over that, and it gives you a bit more of a realistic option. All right, man. Good to see you, Austin. I'll be here for a while, so yeah, just check back in whenever you can. Appreciate you stopping by. Okay, just on Twitch now, just double checking the feed. All right, I think it seems fine. It's doing pretty good. I'm also 1 more follower away from my goal on Twitch, so if anyone wants to subscribe over on Twitch, that'd be sick. My 2021 goals on Twitch was, so far I had it to like make it to 20 followers on there. 19 as of yesterday, I think. Pretty awesome. YouTube's getting close to its second goal of the year. So like in the first few days of 2021, I broke 1,000 subs, I believe, or pretty well over 1,000. Trying to get to 1,300. That's the next goal. And then obviously, if we do that, we'll have another big goal for this year for YouTube. All right. So just sketching over this really quick. I'm also adding some details that I didn't have in the original sketch. You can do whatever you want. You can change things however you want, however you want to go about it. All right, this looks pretty good. The hand's going to come down. Little legs here. Oh, actually, yeah, so we got one other follower an hour ago, it looks like. I don't know if this stuff's popping up as alerts. I got to keep up with this stuff. So, yeah, let me just refresh these real quick. All right. These are all the recent followers and subscribers in the last couple days. And thank you guys. There's also a link to the Streamlabs page, which is like the donations page, but it also allows you guys to do different things and interact with the stream. I don't really know too much about this stuff yet, but I've been like messing around. In the summer, we had like a really active stream community where people were coming to every single stream, and it's just starting to grow back. So thank you guys for coming by and checking this stuff out. Definitely make sure to like the video too. It helps me out so much on all this stuff. Mainly on YouTube, that's the main focus for me as a streamer these days. But if you can, just hit a like. It's real simple. It helps the channel out a ton, and it costs you nothing. It's totally free. Also, feel free to talk in the chat, guys. It makes it easier for me too if you guys are asking questions. And if you want to get involved, we can talk about anything. We can talk about art-related stuff, music you're listening to. If you're watching any shows lately that are good, I'm down to talk about whatever. We can talk about the NFT craze and how it's like the greatest and the worst thing to ever happen. I don't know. What do you guys think about NFTs, the non-fungible tokens for digital artists? I started doing a lot of research on it, and there's a bunch of like great things for digital artists, but also the environmental impact is just insane at the moment with how things are currently mined. But then you see a bunch of articles back and forth that say, oh, that's not true. I don't know. Anyone have opinions on it? Because I'm still kind of on the fence. I do digital art, but I've never been able to sell it, obviously, unless it's a design going towards a physical product in real life. So I'm still kind of like, a little unsure about the future of the NFT space. And until it gets a little bit more environmentally friendly, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. Okay, so we got this design. Let's make sure we got the little claw nail. Looks pretty good. I'm liking this one. All right, so on this design, this is the back side, this is the front side of a different design. I kind of want to have a face on this. So doing like the little middle finger look, I kind of think it would be really funny to have like a weird smiley face on the front that's just massive. I think it'll kind of help level out some of the aggressiveness of this design. And it is a fun design. It is funny. I don't care if people get offended over my toy design. Most people in the designer toy community are into the same stuff I'm into, and they have a bit of a darker sense of humor, and this stuff is okay. I don't make toys that are, heavily influenced or designed around really aggressive topic things that are, super dangerous, in my opinion. I'm not making weird, like, over-sexualized toys like I see out there, which a lot of people love. It's just, like, not for me. Like, I can appreciate the design of them, but I just, like, don't do it. All right. Enough ranting there. Actually, I just realized this guy needs an accessory. So we're going to do the pitchfork. Sorry, I'm jumping around between designs, but this happens. This is how I actually work. It's pretty chaotic. When I have an idea for something, I immediately will just start getting 1,000 ideas as I move on to the next thing. All right, so the original Hot Stuff cartoon and comic has a little pitchfork. We'll just do a real simple one for now. Really simple design We'll do the hearts on this one instead on the bottom. And then like a little ring, and then like that's this design. So that's that character good to go. Now we're moving on to the rock on character. We're gonna draw that one first, I think. So I have my tracing here that I can use as a reference. And I like the height of this. I still think the height is perfect. I think the midway point's good. But the midway point doesn't always need to be the exact halfway point of your character. You know what I mean? Especially when you're drawing sort of cartoon form. So I like the height of the legs on this one. Again, I still think this is like the best scale for a toy. I think that's perfect for a cartoon character, and the aspects look exactly how I would want them to look and how I would draw them. So we're just gonna save ourselves some time and not do as much math and scaling because this already exists in the world and it's pretty damn perfect. And we're just gonna draw this up a little bit, find those halfway points here. Now I could just reference the character I already drew, but we're gonna change this a little bit. So we got this little point here. All right. And I'm switching to a different type of ruler. This is a parallel ruler. This is good on flat pieces of paper. And sketchbooks, not as much, but basically it's like got little wheels, so you can never have to change the angle of your line. Old drafting tool. People ask me a lot about all weird equipment I use. This is just one of my favorite tools. Nothing super fancy. All right. So again, we're just using this as a reference point. This is kind of where the legs and the hips sort of end. So just drawing really basic forms right now. We got the halfway point, which is like actually a little closer to where the arms are, and the head is huge. Now, because this is going to be a hand, you want to make sure that we kind of figure out the general basics as far as the shape goes. I know I want the thumb kind of in this general region. And this is a cartoon hand, so it doesn't need to be as proportionate. We can make it a little bit more exaggerated, which I intend to do because if you are someone that's a creative and you like drawing hands, you're a sick individual. So hands, for me, I kind of have that general vibe. I don't really like drawing them, but I will draw them. But this is a toy, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So we're just going to keep it simple. So this is the weird little like rock on hands. I kind of like having the idea of the fingers closer together. That seems a bit more natural. And I like the idea of this character running. I think that's also really funny. And the fingers with the long fingernails look kind of like little spears going forward, like it's charging at you. And I think that adds in itself just so much character already to this thing. We're going to stick with that sort of theme. We got the monster legs. We're going to sculpt them in. Now this one as well would look really funny with the hooves as a little detailed design. So we're going to start with these basic legs for now, and we might change that to some hooves. And I'm going to switch to the red actually. I'm sketching in the blue primarily because it's probably easier for you to see, but when I'm actually designing, I sketch in red and then use the blue to go over and refine. Or things that are more permanent, I usually sketch in the blue versus the red. Okay, so we got the basic form there. Looking back at my reference, got the little horn guys up here, so that's one. Got the other one. Kind of tapers in. Now I can move these up a little bit. We're going to move them up a little bit higher and then move the thumb up because we want the nails and stuff too to be kind of prominent details here. All right. Now, technically one side would be shorter than the other, so the index finger would be on this side towards the thumb, and the pinky would be around here. It's quite a bit shorter, so we're going to try to keep that proportion, I think, so it still looks realistic. If it doesn't look good, I'll just change it. So I still think it looks kind of funny, though. So we're gonna drop the nail to be like up here. So that'll be the nail. That'll be the finger. All right, and then we have the two fingers that are here. And we can draw these however we want. We're going to draw them really simple right now. So Just trying to get all the information here, and then we can add the details. All right, looking pretty good so far. Just checking things out. All right. And I don't have the audio on my stream right now, so if things are happening, sorry, I gotta catch up and just check. But it looks like we're pretty good. We're caught up right now. All right. Sorry, just pulling up some more references. Cool. Okay. So we got the little teeth here as the nail. I still think that's funny. I kind of think the thumb needs to camouflage that a bit more. And we're just doing the second one as well. There we go. Those details, little segments of the fingers. Little spiky feet. Okay, I think this thing's pretty good actually so far. Really like how this is going. We got the palm that would be here. The groin section, I don't really know what to do here yet. I think I'm going to just keep it really just plain and basic. I don't think adding like a diaper or anything is going to make this design better. I do think, however, maybe like a vest would be really funny on this, but that's all right. We're going to just keep it as is for now and just finish in with some of these tighter details. So we got the smaller finger on this side, that's the pinky. All right. I actually really think this looks pretty good so far. Now I think this character would honestly be better running. I think that's just how it has to be. I think keeping it stationary like this is cool, but not as cool as it could be. And it kind of looks like a tarantula for whatever reason, now that I'm looking at it from this side. And I don't really like that. It ruined it for me. It's not as fun. I think it needs to be clunkier. Too many tight details. Definitely need to make it a much more simple design, and that might help improve the overall look and feel of this thing. All right, so we're gonna do a 3/4 view this time. I think it's gonna just help out the overall look and feel. It's just gonna be a little bit easier. This front view is just not doing it for me, and I think it really needs that real clunky look that I had in the original sketch. Very simple, kind of boxy, not super planned, not super rendered. Let's switch to the red again, sorry. So if you guys can't see anything, just let me know. I'm left-handed. I know this covers it up. I was talking about that earlier. It might be frustrating to watch me draw if you can't see it. So if that happens, let me know. My hand will most likely be out of the way in a few seconds, but I do my best to make it so you guys can see everything. All right, this finger going forwards, charge in. I kind of like the idea of the asymmetrical design. I still think the ones that match that are more symmetrical are a better call, to be honest. Especially with this more cartoony design, so we're gonna stick with that method for this. And there's a ton of like great weird hand art looking stuff in kind of pop culture already, especially with Santa Cruz, the Screaming Hand logo, classic Jim Phillips piece. But we want to do something that's a little different. We want to borrow from those things that have a definite identity in space already that exists in the world, but then we want to do our own version that's kind of fun. And that's kind of the whole thing with the designer toy world. So a lot of appropriation of existing pop culture where you manipulate it to kind of do the things you want it to do and tell your story and show your creativity. Toys are super fun, and I think everyone should give it a try. Even just making one-off sculptures. That's actually how I got into doing toy design. I wanted to be a sculptor, and at the time, I knew there's just no way I could ever afford to really go to school for that and like learn and study to be a master sculptor. That's just not really a thing that's is accessible to most everyday people, especially someone like me that doesn't really come from a fine arts like family and shit. So that's like next to impossible to do unless you got some serious money. But I knew I could make resin toys and I can make things like this. And that's why I think everyone that has an interest in any type of 3D work or wants to make weird things, just get into this stuff first. It's easier. You can sculpt as a hobby with clay. I lost interest in it because I didn't think I could do anything else with it. But then got back into doing toy design later on in life. All right, I'm just going to cut out my little drawings real quick. All right. Sweet. All right, we got these right here. Good to go. Okay, so that's another toy design right there down. I actually really like this one a lot. I think this one has potential. I don't know, if you guys have a favorite, let me know. I might do a poll or something afterwards. But this design, I think, has a lot of potential to be really fun. I think the face in the front is very funny. I could do a little devil tail on this guy too. Maybe it's an extra piece. I don't know. Still up in the air. We'll see. I want all my designs for the upcoming year for toy stuff to be really funny and just kind of cutesy because it's just a great little piece. And I've been getting a lot of inspiration from a lot of other artists lately. 100% Soft is one of my favorite artists in recent years. They made this piece in 2020. The artwork, I think, is, just before then. Everyone's ripped off this toy, and it's just a great piece. But I love how simple the face is, and I've drawn a lot of smiley faces in the past on stuff with a really similar look. But for the middle finger design, I want to do something similar. Sorry, guys, the GoPro just went out again. 1 second. All right, sorry about the technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. We should be up and running again in just a minute. I'll be right back once we have that going. All right, guys, sorry about that little technical difficulty there. Just had some issues with the GoPro. I am looking for other streaming options, so I'm very sorry about the delay there. Okay. We're also getting close to the halfway point, which I'm going to start doing now in videos just because I do these long streams that are really long, sometimes over 4 hours. Usually always over at least 2 hours. So we're going to go for a little bit longer. And then I'm going to take like a 20-minute break. So we'll do a 20-minute break. If you guys need to do anything, get up, stretch, marinate with the stuff we just went over. And then we get back into drawing and some details. If you have questions, that sort of thing, Want to try to keep the streams at a consistent level of at least 3 people watching across all the platforms. If it drops below that, then it gets a little ridiculous to stay on. um, as far as just like the analytics and stuff goes for this. So I'm just trying to keep everything on the up and up with the streams. They're a lot of work. There's a lot of stress in them. And we're trying to make them better. We're getting super close to some major goals on all the platforms. So YouTube, we're getting close to all the watch time that we need. And every minute that each person watches counts, I guess, towards my watch time on the actual like YouTube algorithm stuff. But we're getting close. We're almost there. As of today, there's only 1,203 watch hours left before the channel can reach a couple other new features like the in YouTube donations. I won't need to use Streamlabs anymore. Some other just like weird things that I can do that just make it easier. The channel will technically be monetized, that sort of thing, but not like that's the most important thing, but it is a cool feature that might help me out a lot. All right, so we're going to move on. We've done this character design. Most of the details are pretty good. We're going to just draw little notes here of how we want the face to look. Usually do stuff like this when I want to make sure there's a detail I don't forget. So this would be the eyes. And we'll go back, we'll review this really quick. I think the little smiley foot's good. I actually kind of like that as an idea for a logo, maybe as a separate toy brand away from Wolf Bits. The little kneecap here is looking good. The arms are good. I still am on the fence. I might switch this to 3 little claws instead of the 5. All right, and then the little hooves on this middle finger design, I'm still up in the air about. They actually might work better for this design. So we'll draw like a little hoof. This is how they kind of look. Got the top of the thigh here, a little knee that hooks in. Does that, and then that's like actually where the hoof meets the weird bendy leg part. It's got the little hairs here. All right, so that's an option for this guy, I think, for sure. Like that's definitely doable. We're gonna move on to the marching middle finger design next. Oh man. And we're just gonna see how it goes. I think by 7 I might just end the stream. A little tired today. I don't know if I want to do a full, over 3-hour stream today. I think it's just a lot. All right, again, we're just borrowing some quick little details from the previous design. This is just to save some time and make it a little bit easier. And for this design, we're going to also just do a front and the back this time. The side profile isn't as important on this one, I think, because we have a 3/4 view of the back and we want to draw the front. So we want to make sure that the front has some really fun details. And we're going to probably step away from this Cupid leg and go to something a little bit more, I guess adults would be the best way to put it. Not as like cutesy, like puffy, pudgy leg. All right, so the front design, I gotta flip you all off. I'm sorry, I need a reference here. So we generally want this to follow as closely as possible when we can. We know that the finger's gonna be here. You also have to decide if it's your left or your right hand that you're going to do this on. I'm left-handed, so I should probably do a left-handed, but a majority of the world is right-handed, and most of these designs are drawn on a right hand. But a left hand could be used for a lot of reasons, so I think maybe we're going to decide. We'll see once we get this kind of hatched out a bit more. All right, so we got the front of the hand now. Kind of the knuckles where the thumb goes down on the side here. And then we have the legs. So the legs, we want pretty simple. They're usually walking, so we could do something where the legs are walking, like with this running design. But we're gonna just keep it simple. We're just gonna do like the straight on view really quick. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit more for where the legs are. It's okay to like change the design. I didn't go all the way to the top here, so we can add that extra height down here if we need to on the sketch. We're just doing this pretty rough because we wanted to get the basics fleshed out. Now we're working kind of quick. So we're getting to that point where we're losing people on the stream. I'm sorry if this is boring, but this is what the process is. This is actually how it's done. So I do appreciate everybody stopping by though for tonight's stream. Hopefully we'll get the second wave of people that like to watch a little bit later. I'm going to stay on until this design is done. If we end up losing, all right, people are coming back, but if we end up losing, below the 3, I'll probably just call it and, I'll do a separate video on this or whatever, but all right. So we have the main front of the design here, John. It's pretty funny. I think it's funny. I don't know. You guys might not find it as funny. I think a middle finger marching toy would be hilarious. We got the weird bubbly toes, which will turn into probably little devil feet. Because we're doing the demon hands, so it's going to have the long nails and it's going to be red. But as far as the faces go, this is another reason I have the tracing paper, because I want to try a few things out. So I'm going to show you a technique to do that. So we have the tracing paper with our design, and we want to try a few different face options out. I really like the idea of a super funny smiley face on this. So we got like just the huge smiley face. I think is hilarious. Yeah, this is where it's at. You want the nice big bold. Looks like it was drawn with a super fat Sharpie. So that's one face option. And the other thing that's cool about drawing on tracing paper over your main design is that you can move it. So you can change where it is. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can flip it upside down. Whatever you want. I think this is one of the best parts about it. So that's one feature. And then on this next one, we're going to cut this up just real quick. We're going to do probably like a little devil face on it, and then we'll do a smiley face or a frowny face, a grumpy face, whatever we feel like doing. And in my general idea for this, I think I'd probably want to do this so it's just painted on, not sculpted into the main toy. And that's why you want to, do a couple versions and see what you think. Sometimes it's best to make a blank form first and then do different versions where you sculpt on blank forms and make a new mold. All right. Okay. So just checking now. Something's going on with the stream view. I can't really tell what's going on with it. It says there's different numbers on like my thing versus what's showing up on screen, but more people have joined, so thank you guys for checking out the stream. Definitely make sure to hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. If there's a like equivalent on Twitch, please do that as well. Helps out a lot. So we just drew the smiley face on this guy, this little marching middle finger design. Now we're going to draw the frowny face, see if we like it. Remember, super giant eyeballs. Keep it as childish as possible. I actually think the frowny face is just as funny. And if you do this as a blank form and it's not sculpted in detail, the best part is that you can actually just do different versions and just paint them on or make a spray mask or whatever you want to do this sort of thing. And I really think that is one of the beauties of making a great base for a designer toy. So yeah, I think that's already super funny. I think it's funny. That's so great. Just such a good concept already. All right. So we got the two face options, and then now we're going to do like the little devil face. So I'm going to pull up some references I pulled up earlier just to kind of sketch something quick. and not to, take too much time on it. So generally you have like the weird nose on classic tattoo flash. And I think this would have to be a sculpted in design. You have the spade nose like this. You have the two giant eyes like that. They're usually massive. And then they have a lot of eyebrow and forehead expression. So you have these little features that are supposed to be like the brows. And then you usually have the really angry teeth, and the mouth is very close up to the nose, because it's usually depicted as like a snarling beast. Little teeth. Actually, this looks awesome. Even as like a tattoo design, this would be just kind of cool. All right, little snarling teeth on the bottoms, fangs. Okay, I kind of like this design. I think it's really funny. So you can go all sorts of crazy with this. You can see a lot of different variation with one simple form. By just changing the facial expressions on the design, you get 3 totally different feeling toys off of the same sort of vibe and feel. Really cool. I really think this would be a fun piece. Either one of these is just super funny to me, especially the smiley faces and the frown face. I think that's awesome. And then we have here the devil face, which is just super fun. And it's such a good idea, I think, just of how the whole thing forms together. So that's pretty awesome. So that's generally how I do the sketching. Now for this design itself, it's really simple, and there's not many parts that would need to be disconnected unless I wanted to make more work for myself and maybe make all of the fingernails on this design come off so I could cast them a different color. That's an option. I think it's a lot of labor though for something I could simply just paint them on a different color. You know what I mean? So you got to decide if that's what you want to do with your design, if that's a feature that you like, all that stuff. For me, I think the simpler the design is, the better. I think the smiley face design is funny. So I think that's going to be like the first one. All right, it's pretty good. And if you guys are from the East Coast, I mean, like, that's the general vibe, is the smiley face middle finger, where it's just, I always joke around with people when they ask about Boston, like what the people are like. I always tell people that our hello is go fuck yourself. So that's the thing. Oh, we got someone new joining the chat. What's up, man? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, we just did a little bit of character design for some toy design here, some different concepts, just in the sketching phase now. And we did this little devil guy character. Hey man, I'm glad it could be helpful. I always just try to have fun with the streams and just show my process, and I really appreciate you coming to check it out. Definitely make sure to like the video. It helps the channel out so much. All right, so we got all the references that we need. And I think it's at like a pretty good point for doing a bit more of the mold design talk now. Now this design, like I was saying before, is simple enough where I don't think it needs to have multiple parts to it unless I wanted to add more work for myself. The other thing you can do when you're designing a toy is you can take things that already exist and use those as features in your toy. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed too, definitely subscribe. We're getting close to some major goals on the channel. All right, so I have here some little googly eyes. Everyone's seen these, right? Of course you have. If you've ever existed and lived to the age of 3, you've seen these things. So little googly eyes, they're fun. You glue them on stuff. They make things kind of awesome. I really think these would be a fun feature to throw. Like, look how fun that already looks right on top of this. Pretty simple. But this is a readily available part and component that comes in a specific size. So you can actually add this sort of concept to your designs, and you can actually just glue these on to whatever you want. That's something I think people need to get more in the habit of when they want to have more dynamic looks in their toys and making things a little bit more intense or just a little easier. You can already do so much with your character design and your toy design by grabbing things that already exist in the world. So these googly eyes, you can get these anywhere, like any craft store, order them online, whatever. But just look how quickly they change the feeling and vibe of a character design. Even this little guy, like right here, like looks absolutely ridiculous with those. And that's just one option. The other thing that you can do, which I really like, when I'm sculpting, I try to find things that make my life easier. One of the things that I've seen a lot of other toy artists do and sculptors do is they'll use these metal ball bearings. And you can get these at a ton of sizes. So these are metal ball bearings, usually made out of stainless steel. But when you're sculpting, you can actually place these in as your little eye details or whatever, you know? And just embed those in the clay. You have a perfectly round eye. It's exactly the size it needs to be. They're perfectly symmetrical. Sculpting eyes is one of the most frustrating things in the world to me. So this was a game changer when I first figured out I could do something like that. Now, you don't have to do this sort of thing for everything, but finding objects that already exist in the real world that are already made that you can use as elements for your sculpture is a huge time saver and honestly makes things so much more fun because you can use those elements again and again in your actual design. So say I make this design and I want to sculpt in a spot for those googly eyes. I make a master form. I cast it. Then from the casting itself, I start marking up where I want to do some permanent changes for a new mold. I'm like, oh, I know the eyes are this size right here. I want them this far apart. I know they're this big. I want them this far apart. And then I take the standard googly eye size. I find a drill bit or whatever, a piece of pipe that's sharpened. I place it in the section I want. I mark it on the toy. And then I carve that out. And then I have it. So when I cast the next mold, all I have to literally do, I don't have to line anything up. I just put a dab of super glue, place down these eyeballs, and they're good to go. They also make cat eye, like little, resin cat eyes and stuff like that. Do all the same thing. And so let me just catch up on the chat here. All right. Yeah, so that's a perfect example. Like in the chat here, we're talking about some of the 3D elements that already exist. Exactly. So you can do the same thing with ZBrush. You can actually download models and things like that that already exist that are, commonplace production items and alter them or add them to your sculpture to make your design look a lot different. So that's kind of the basics, guys, of sketching out a toy. It looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this overall layout. It's been a while since I've flipped through the sketchbook too, so we'll do a little quick refresher. I think we might call it pretty soon. I don't know. We're getting pretty close. If you guys want, if you have any questions, we'll keep the chat open for a little while, and I'll just keep sketching away, drawing little features and details. And just feel free to ask me any questions you guys have or, suggestions or other things you guys want to see in upcoming streams. I'm still doing the streams as frequently as I can. So this is 2 Thursdays in a row. We're kind of back on that schedule of every Thursday around 4:35 p.m. Central Eastern Time. We're going to keep that moving forward. But for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing this toy design stuff. I might alternate every other week. We'll see. This is the first video series in making a designer toy from scratch. There will be molding and casting videos in between that on my main channel, but that's not the main focus of my channel. A lot of people are here for toy design, but I do all sorts of creative stuff on there, and that's the main focus of the channel. So with the live streams, they'll be labeled part 1, part 2, whatever, with the same title, so you'll be able to find them in the future. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and I really do appreciate everybody that stopped by. Let's kick it around for a little bit longer. I want to see if I can get this video up to 10 likes at least. That's like my minimum goal on stream I want to try to do for sure. Yeah, man, definitely. I appreciate it. I love anyone that can come to the streams and hang out. We're getting super close to a ton of stuff on here. Yeah, my Twitch channel has the same name, so if you prefer to watch on Twitch, feel free. I don't really know Twitch as well, like super well, but I have it set up with Streamlabs, and all my notifications for the most part go through the YouTube chat. When I'm on Streamlabs itself, I was streaming to Twitch earlier, but it just booted out for whatever reason. I Twitch seems to crash a lot more for me, unfortunately. But yeah, I stream on Twitch. I'm gonna start streaming some video game stuff as well, but just like fun, simple stuff. I think I'm gonna start doing, trying to figure out how I can hook up my Nintendo Switch and play games on there. And if you guys want to do that sort of thing or you're into that, that is something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I did it a little bit before, but it wasn't super successful. I don't have like the setup to do stuff with like the PS4 and whatnot. But I feel like if I can figure out how to set up my Switch, I don't know, I might do like a playthrough of playing Zelda or something. But I want to explore Twitch a bit more this year as well, because I know a lot of people like it a bit more than YouTube. All right. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else I can do on this stream to kind of show you guys what else I got for process, but I kind of think we went over almost everything, honestly. I think all that stuff. Totally, man. That's the thing. I thought I would really like Twitch a lot, but it's just been so hard to kind of like get a following on there compared to YouTube. YouTube, I already have a much larger following than I will get on Twitch probably ever. So that's why I've kind of stuck with it. But it's getting close for me. Like I do really like all the features, and I think the platform is designed to really help creatives out a bit more than YouTube is these days. But the following on YouTube so far has been really really great, and it's a constant thing where Twitch I feel like takes a bit more time and work than I currently have at the moment to put into it. But I do plan to get more into Twitch this year. Like I said, I'm one more follow away on Twitch from my goal of all of 2021 was to make it to 20 followers on Twitch. So it's getting there. It's getting close. And then I think yeah, I'm at 19 now, so literally one more. And then YouTube, we're getting close as well. Got a lot of goals for the year. I really want to try to make it as high as I can, but the first goal was already made within the first few days of 2021, and then the next one is I think only 11 subscribers away, so that's even crazier. But we'll see. Looks like the stream is back as well. So yeah, I'm just trying to get it all figured out. It's just so crazy trying to get all the platforms to work and whatnot. And I don't even know how active the real view time is on Twitch. I just see stuff happening, but I don't really know, like, I don't know what's going on with it. But yeah. And going back and forth between, like, the platforms is hard to see. Yeah, I've definitely heard that Twitch is super hard to get into, and like, I have some friends that are doing pretty well on there, and they've gained a couple hundred followers on there. I'm just not actively on it enough, and I know that the platform is primarily for gaming, which I definitely would love to share, because I feel like I'm just a weird, super sarcastic person that could probably get along really well with people on Twitch, just having fun. Yeah, I've seen some art streams on there, and like people make some great stuff, and I wish they had more momentum behind it, but I definitely notice that a lot because it is primarily a gaming platform. It makes sense that, obviously the art's going to take a bit of a hit in comparison, and that's totally understandable. Oh, for French streams, man, that's like I tried to learn some French, and I can't do it. Us people from Boston here, our accent just makes everything sound so ridiculous and difficult and terrible. Yeah, I went to France for the first time like 2 years ago now, I think. Yeah, it was awesome. Went there, skated. Was in Paris the whole time, so I'm sure there's a lot more to see than Paris. But being a tourist, it was awesome. I went with somebody and got to skate all these great skate parks, and you know, paint some graffiti with some like random people I met that just like were down. That was super fun. Yeah, dude, I think it's definitely a platform I'm excited to get more into for sure. I think YouTube has its benefits and Twitch has its benefits. The main reason I'm still primarily on YouTube is again just because the following's already there, and I do a lot more than just stream, because drawing and streaming is such a tiring thing. Oh, dude, there was a decent amount. Yeah, Paris is cool. Oh, and huh. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Sorry guys, I'm getting some calls right now. Actually, I might need to. We're just gonna put the stream on hold for a second. We'll be right back. Just gotta catch up and see what these are all about. All right, guys. Sorry about that. One of my buddies was giving me a call, but looks like he was trying to FaceTime, but it hung up, so he probably accidentally dialed. All right, so we're sharpening the pencil. We got some more people that looks like joining the stream, so we're gonna get to it. I guess we're gonna design another character, so we're just gonna start from scratch. I have no ideas right now, so let's just kind of, if anyone has a concept, maybe we'll design a character together, and we'll see which one's everyone's favorite in the end, and then I'll probably do some polls on my other social media, and we'll just figure out which one's the best. If you guys are just joining the stream, thank you guys for checking it out. Definitely make sure to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Oh, we got some other stream activity. I don't think that's been showing up, so we're going to just put those alerts out. Thank you for that. And then we had another one like 2 hours ago. Awesome. Catching up on the chat here. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time in Paris. I thought it was cool, but again, I came as a tourist. I was there a week. I can't imagine it's great for living, but neither is Boston. It's a very like rough city to be in for sure. I just hit my 2021 goal on Twitch now. I think that's officially 20 followers. So thank you guys. I really appreciate that a lot. That's awesome. Huge shout out to whoever that was. And we're just getting the stream back up and running, it looks like. So just give it some time. I think it's hitting some rough points on the channel. If it's going a little slow, I'm sorry about that. And just checking now. Yeah, it's not working, it looks like. Hang on one second. I gotta figure out what's going on with this. The GoPro keeps cutting out. All right, sorry guys. 1 second. It should be back up in a second. The GoPro just keeps cutting out. Oh man. If anyone has a suggestion for another camera that doesn't just automatically turn off, the GoPro just has been giving me a lot of trouble this stream. Last stream it was fine, but this one it's not having it. Does not want to work. I don't know. All right, we're almost back. Give me 1 second. All right, we should be back now. Sorry about that. The GoPro just keeps shutting off. Really frustrating. All right, looks like we got a lot of people on the stream now. Thank you guys for joining. Definitely make sure to like the video. Just saying that before. So far we've actually gotten quite a bit done as far as the character design stuff goes. I started a little early than originally planned, about 20 minutes early from the original plan of the stream, but we were able to get a few character designs down. So we have this main character here based off of Hot Stuff, which is a little devil character from the 50s. There was a popular comic book, and the universes of a couple different other characters as well. I believe also in like the Casper universe. So Casper the Friendly Ghost. But yeah, we got some awesome stuff here. And we basically did 3 character designs so far. So we have, like I said, the little kind of devil Cupid guy. We have the marching middle finger, this storming rock on sign hand thing, which is pretty funny. These are based off of popular Tattoo Flash designs. So we did a version of the running like rock on hand here with the little devil horns guy, and made a little face on there, which is kind of awesome. It's based off of those sketches from before, if you can see those. Put them against the paper. So we have both of them. We have the marching middle finger, which is a super popular design. I love that one personally, and we were messing around with how the faces look, so I drew a bunch of faces on those. Let me just erase this sketch underneath so it doesn't get in the way. Looks like I used a red that doesn't erase. Whoops. All right, well, that's fine. So we did a ton of different options. We did one that had this little kind of devil demon face on there. Might be a little hard to see. Sorry about that. Did one with a frowny face, which looks absolutely hilarious. And then we did another one with a smiley face, which I actually really like a lot. I think this is the best one. All right. So I don't know what else to talk about in stream. I think we've kind of hit everything. We're approaching the 2-hour mark. So I think I'm going to just probably call it. I'll keep it open for another 5 minutes if people have questions. We've pretty much hit all the design elements we can do today before I get clay. The mold design process for both of these hand figures is going to be really simple. I think it's going to be a single piece design, so I don't really need to do anything super crazy. The actual pour spouts of this would probably be on the bottom one of the feet, and then the venting would just be on the slightly more complicated details on the back. So we'd probably have it on this main finger here, venting to the top. Probably do one on this thumb here in the back, another vent, just like that. And the pouring spout would be on one of the feet, most likely. And then on one side, on the bottom of the foot, we'd probably do like a logo on the bottom of the foot carved in on the original sculpt. So I usually draw those out. We got the foot there. I think the frowny face would be a funny one, or the smiley face on the bottom of the foot as like a little logo for this new toy brand thing. Or I just put the Wolf Pits logo on the bottom. Have the same thing on the little devil baby thing. And I'm trying to think of like another funny design that I can do, because I'm like kind of on a roll. I actually really like these designs a lot. So, and we got the camera up and running again. And let me just check a few other things really quick. I'm just trying to catch up on all the chats here. All right. Yes, we caught up on that there. Just going to check Twitch real quick. All right, so the Twitch chat has been pretty dead. There's still just like the one person watching. So thank you. Again, thank you guys for helping me reach that goal of 2021 for Twitch. 20 followers. That's actually really exciting. I did not think that was going to happen. YouTube, I got to fix the sub goals down here. So that's much higher. It's closer to 1,300. We're 11 away from reaching that goal. So definitely make sure to subscribe. But I think that's going to do it, guys. I think it's been a pretty long video. If you guys have not yet hit the like button on the video, please do that. We're 2 away from hitting 10 likes on the video, and that's awesome. But I think I'm going to call it a night. And thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you for watching the stream. We're a little over 2 hours now, but it's been super fun. And I'm excited for the next video. I think the next video we're going to get a lot of stuff going. The next one, we're probably going to actually start doing some of the sculpting itself. So we're going to pick one of these designs and we're going to sculpt it. And that's going to be probably a really long stream. That might be, I don't even know how long that's going to take. But I want to make these things more fun for you guys as well. Just me talking can probably get exhausting. I get exhausted hearing myself just talk without much conversation. So I do appreciate you guys chatting in the little chat section here. And we got 2 more minutes before the stream is going to end. So thank you guys so much for watching. The Discord's also recently had a lot more activity jumping around in there. And that's been super great. So if you want to join the Discord, you can join the Discord if you go to my Patreon page and you just, you join the lowest tier and you get access, you'll get a link directly to the Patreon and you only pay once. And the only reason I have it set up like that is just to pay for the features on the Discord server. So you guys can actually upload higher quality images. We can do just all sorts of stuff over on Discord that we can't really do on any other platform. And it's more of a community there. A lot of people sharing great work and great stuff. But I think that's going to do it. Yeah, we're on the last minute now before I end the stream. And we'll probably see you guys again next Thursday. So definitely make sure to come through next Thursday, same time. Probably go a little bit longer. And we'll have probably some clay in front of us next time. I'll probably have some digital renderings of this, so it's a little bit easier to see as a reference to sculpt with. And I think the next video is really going to have a lot of the secrets. We're going to be sculpting, so it's going to take a long time. So that's just something to be prepared for. It's not a fast process. It's slow. But I'm going to show you all the things that I know as an amateur sculptor to make my toy designs. And then after that, we'll have some videos in between this process that'll be on the main channel that you guys can check out. And from there, we're going to go and we'll probably do, I don't know. We'll see what's next. I think we'll go over casting. I don't know if I'll be able to do that on a live stream because I'll probably have to go to my buddy's studio to cast those. But there will be a YouTube video on that. And yeah, man, that's going to do it. So thank you guys so much for watching. And have a good night. Wolf Puts out. Peace.